welcome to another exciting episode of Barley and Me presents Leonard Malting, our beer-centric movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me as always, my co-hosts, Paulina Olivares.
Hola.
And our other co-host, it's Corky McDonnell.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. We gonna do what they say can't be done. Hi, everybody.
This is a beer-centric podcast. We review movies that focus on, well, feature beer heavily. Let's face it, not a lot of movies are focusing on beer at large. So this week we have a very special movie for you, close to a lot of people's hearts. The 1977 Hal Needham classic, Smokey and the Bandit.
It's like a honky-tonk Fast and Furious.
With one car.
I mean, they're cop cars.
Yeah, that's true. I had never seen this movie before.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Okay, so what about your parents? Did your parents ever tell you what a great movie this movie was? Like, anything like that? Was there any?
My parents are Mexican immigrants, so I don't think they ever saw it.
Man.
Yeah, no, my dad really kind of stayed away from this kind of stuff. He didn't like Good Old Boys too much. So, but I had friends who liked this, like country friends who liked this movie.
Yeah, there are people who are so excited that we're watching this movie, reviewing this movie, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I don't know why anyone cares that we're doing this.
This is the shit kickeriest movie I've seen in a long time. I mean, this movie, shit kicker throughout. The humor, the music, just the accents, the themes, like it's like, can we just break down? He's a famous big rig driver, or he's
rodeo
that
driver, ROADEO. Yep. So you already mentioned my favorite things. The humor's bad and the music is bad. We'll point out the person who wrote the script is also in the movie, and the person who wrote the music is also in the movie.
Yes, sir.
It's just,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So the director Hal Needham wrote it, directed it, has a part in it.
So the Ben was a guest on my podcast, Dare Daniel podcast, and the episode he guested for was Megaforce. It also directed by Hal Needham towards the tail end of his career. And one thing about Hal Needham is he likes transportation. If he could film a freeway for an hour and a half, he would do that.
Yeah.
Maybe capture a shot of a helicopter going by. He likes vehicles in motion.
Yeah. I was going to say, look, you need to have something in the air also, Corky. Did you not watch these films? You need it. Also, early on.
That's his thing.
Yeah. One more thing, he also really loves Confederate flags. Loves getting them in there real quick.
Confederate flags, casual racism, white guys defaulting to casual racism for the joke, and everybody just being okay with it.
And really, really selling the setup for an action scene. Just telegraphing it. You know it's coming. There's no surprise.
And then a song describing it as it's
Yes.
Yes.
if you weren't, maybe it's for the blind people so they can enjoy the action too.
This could be.
Yeah. So this is my favorite. So Snowman, Cletus Snow, the Snowman, Jerry Reed, is a country singer. He did this thing. I think they were trying to go back to like that 1950s singing cowboy thing.
Yeah,
but like
could be.
For a modern gas-guzzling panic audience.
Okay, I'm going to say Jerry Reed was my favorite part of this movie.
Yes.
He was like, because he seemed like he actually drove a truck before. When he talked on the CB, I believed him. There were people who looked confused at what a CB was, but knew the lingo, he could do it. And then Eastbound and Down, that's him singing that song.
Yeah.
That's his music. And Bandit, what is it, the love theme from Smokey and the Bandit, where Burt Reynolds and Sally Field go driving in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
That's Jerry Reed as well.
Yeah. It's, he's definitely the best part. I also appreciated that when he got off the CB, a lot of people on the CB, they got their handles and then they're a different person off of it. No, he's the same person. He's just as disgusting of a human being outside of that CB as on it.
But I want to harken back, like, okay, Roadhouse, a great bad movie, takes place in a world where a bouncer at a bar is famous. Like everybody knows the bouncer's name in the bar. This movie takes place in a world where everybody knows a guy who drives a car's name. Like Bandit. He's out there causing trouble, driving a car, vrooming. Like what world is that?
They like in other states. Like it's not even just like his hometown.
Yes.
Like the entire South.
Yeah. And they all know his routes. They know his call name. They know his CB. Like, they get on the right channel. They're all in support of him. They're like, yes, this is our guy.
They are willing to commit several felonies, interstate hijacking for him.
And don't forget, he's also, despite being just a voice on the radio, an irresistible sex machine.
I think this is the first Burt Reynolds movie I've ever seen. Like,
the first one?
I don't know what else I would have seen him in. I was trying to think. I'm like, when I think of Burt Reynolds, I think of SNL Celebrity Jeopardy. Exactly that. Was he always so tan?
Yeah.
Kind of leathery, but not super leathery. Just a touch below.
I'm like, is this what like Donald Trump's trying to go for? But he can't like blend the foundation right. Like he's so tan.
No, he's going for that other guy, the completely leather man.
George Hamilton?
Yeah, there you go.
It's funny, Paulina, so your generation, you know Burt Reynolds from Celebrity Jeopardy, Saturday Night Live. Ben, you're a little younger than me. But this was like my age. Like, this was inspired Dukes of Hazzard, the first one, you know, the Confederate car and the jump in the bridges. There was just something about shit kickers driving in the late 70s that people were into. And it just missed me. I don't get this at all. I don't get the appeal of this.
It's such a weird celebration of things we shouldn't be celebrating. They're like, muscle cars. We just had a gas shortage. Let's use more gas than ever. Racism's dying. Let's just keep the symbols then. Let's
let's neg women
as
a way to try to hit on them.
I mean, it works. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't work.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he's an irresistible sex symbol. Sex workers ask him for work. Did you see?
Yeah,
there's a sex worker. Please, I'll pay you. Just come here.
Yeah, that's some of that midnight cowboy stuff. Just.
I also like that it was like never nighttime in the movie.
Right, because they drove all.
That's a great point.
It really is all day and day.
Is it like an Alaska situation in the South where like they just have several days of sunlight and I'm not aware of it because I've always lived in my California bubble? Is that what?
Right. It's a prequel to 30 Days of Night, 30 Days of Light.
30 Days of White.
Oh God. Okay. The movie. It's Burt Reynolds as Bandit. He has a name. It's apparently Bo Darville. Don't remember that being a thing.
He's only called Bo once by Sally Field.
Yeah. Who was dating him at the time? This is
They made a few movies together.
Yeah.
And like my knowledge of Sally Field is like Miss Doubtfire. Who is she?
I think at this time she was Norma Ray. She was coming right off of Norma Ray, which was I think she got an Academy Award or either at least a nom for that biopic about a union busting woman or a woman who worked for unions.
No idea.
She didn't want to take this movie. She was like, Burt Reynolds was trying to get her to do it. And she's like, I'm not doing that shit. There's nothing to that script. And you can tell some of their scenes are improv.
Yeah, they had to be. The dialogue is so stilted. I love when she tells him he has a way with words, and he's like, he didn't even say a complete sentence. I don't think he said a sentence. Anyway, Sally Field plays Carrie, a.k.a. Frog, because she's so hoppy. Is that a beer reference? And he wants to jump her. God.
I mean, I've been called Frog before, but for completely different reasons.
Okay.
Why were you called Frog? Oh, listeners at home. She just blew out her neck like a bullfrog.
I'm sorry you can't hear that happening, but it happened.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Then it also, as we also mentioned, stars Jerry Reed as Cletus Snow, a.k.a. the Snowman, and Jackie Gleason as Buford T. Justice, a.k.a. Smokey, which he only says once, and they put it in the title. It's not Bandit and Frog. It's not Frog and Bandit. It's Smokey and the Bandit. He says Smokey one time.
That's pretty confusing. Although I thought Smokey just referred to the law. Like he's just trying to outrun Smokey all the time. And Smokey's just like an amorphous. Several of the cops he outwits.
If you'd have asked me a week ago, who is Smokey and the Bandit, I'd be like, Sally Field and Burt Reynolds.
Right.
And it'd be like, you're stupid. I'm like, no, I'm right. And it turns out I'm wildly wrong. I've misunderstood this movie that has 3 of them. There's 3 of these movies.
They made 3?
They made 3.
Holy shit.
Original cast in all of them, or is it one of those sequels with a different person kind of thing?
Third one definitely did not have a return of several characters. And the second one...
Like Tremors, where they can get the stars back.
I mean, I don't think you need the stars back for Tremors. It's such a good idea the whole time. You can just keep going.
If it was Tremors, if it was like Tremors, it would be like some tertiary character took over the franchise, like Junior, like Buford T. Justice's son would take over the franchise like Michael Gross did with Tremors. He was just a side character in the first.
Do they drink beer in Tremors? Because I would watch Tremors for this. I love Tremors.
I watched Tremors like on Valentine's Day because it was on Netflix, and then I was like, "Oh, his name's Valentine." That's the only reason I remember what day it was because it wasn't like particularly romantic or anything. I don't remember. Yeah, it happened. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I think these kinds of movies you need to see when you're young, or they make no impression whatsoever.
Right.
It holds like anybody who has been writing for this movie. Go watch it again after having seen any movie the last 20 years and tell me this is worth talking about, sharing with people, anything like that.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been rebooted with like how much it's loved, right? The whole time I'm watching it, I was like, I'm getting like Pedro Pascal vibes because he's so brown, the mustache. So, like it'd be so much better. But I don't know who would be like Frog. I don't know who our modern Sally Field is. I couldn't think of anyone.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I'd put in any of these parts, honestly. Something to think about. Maybe it'll come up as we discuss this movie, which I suppose we should probably do. Oh, you know what? This is a beer podcast.
There's not. Oh, yeah.
Should probably mention we're drinking beers. This movie features a lot of Coors.
Barely.
No, it doesn't even really feature Coors. It's mentioned. It's barely seen.
There's, of course, t-shirt at one point on a kid.
And Coors is barely a beer. So, I mean, it barely features barely a beer.
Yeah, it mentions it in a quantity that does not add up. And we'll get to the math. But, okay. So we are drinking beers. We are doing a beer podcast that does beer movies. Today we are going, much like this movie, that just stands the test of time, rock solid, a little hard to choke down when you're trying. We are only drinking stouts. So we are all drinking different stouts. I am drinking the Black is Beautiful Imperial Stout, New Helvetia edition. If you could pick this one up, the money goes to support the Sojourner Truth Multicultural Art Museum in South Sacramento. So worth a pickup.
I'm drinking an Imperial brewery brewed in conjunction with Shadow Puppet Muscovado oat milk stout with cacao nibs, coffee, and vanilla. And it's deliciously sweet and smooth.
Okay, now it's my turn. I'm drinking Mother Earth Syntax Imperial Peanut Butter Stout, 8.1%. And it was in my fridge for a long time because it's from 2018, but it's delicious.
And also the most fitting beer for this because there's taxation involved. So
that was my choice.
And a little bit of sinning. I don't know if that's true. I'm not really sure what sins are. Sins of the flesh, probably. There's not. But so this movie starts, and it starts with a lot of pictures of big trucks rumbling and rustling, spewing smoke. Because it's the late 70s, and we just got, like I said, out of a gas shortage crisis. So you got to sexualize big, powerful, gas-consuming vehicles as much as you possibly can. It's very responsible. And then this is my favorite. They have a shot of this big rig tearing down the highway, and then it slams on its brakes real hard for a train that has clearly already established itself as crossing. Just like swaying in the roadway, swinging back and forth because it got to slam on those brakes for this very obvious train.
Meanwhile, you're getting a theme song that is like a folk song, a trip dedicated to this man, the Bandit. And he's equated with American folk legends like John Henry, Pecos Bill. It's like this man is legendary. Meanwhile, what is he legendary for? Driving cars really fast.
Yeah, and also driving big rigs really far, I guess.
He go the vroom vroom.
He does go to vroom vrooms. That's very true. And I thought that was a dumb thing that they did, was the slamming on the brakes for the train. But it turns out it was setting up something that I noticed over and over again, which is these drivers failing to notice things that are directly in front of them by several hundred feet. To the point that I was like, are these people even look anyway? That's the intro to this movie. And it opens on Big Enos and what I assume is Little Enos. And
Paulina already. You got her.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm right.
What are you giggling about?
Enos.
Hey, this is what kind of humor you're going to get all night long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Big Enos, Little Enos, in the cartoonish blue suits that are clearly like the prototype for the Duke brothers in Trading Places.
Ah, okay.
But it's like a father and son.
Like Dumber kind of vibes.
Who?
Dumb and Dumber when they had the
Yeah.
Their tuxedos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know what? I think you're right. I think they took that from this.
The thing going on with Big Enos and Little Enos, because it's father-son and they're comically different. Did you guys notice that?
I did notice. You know, they got their names for no reason.
Burt Reynolds' first line in the movie about their sizes. But he said, like, it must be a bitch getting a size 68 extra fat and a 12 dwarf.
Out.
Uh-oh.
But don't worry, they got their dig in first because as they're walking to go find him, they say the biggest thing about Bandit is his ego.
Oh, shit.
Take that, Burt Reynolds' Enos.
Little Enos.
So is that okay? Let's just get it out there. Is that a play on penis or is it a play on anus? Or is that just the brilliance of Smokey and the Bandit's writing? It could go either way.
And both are hilarious.
It's a little bit. It
It's
taints
big
the penis,
little
it
penis.
taints the anus.
Depends on what part of the South you're from and the dialect that you pronounce it. Enos.
So they're looking for this famous racer guy,
Yeah.
and he's got his
At
own
a rodeo.
at a rodeo that's spelled ROADEO. And he's hanging out in the cot with his name over it.
Yeah, he's in a hammock at a fucking big rig race, right? I mean, there's monster trucks racing, very loud, crowd cheering, and he's in which puts up a hammock at a fucking loud racetrack.
And immediately we're figuring out, how did this movie get funded? How did people get this script in front of somebody and make this movie for $4.3 million? And it's immediately all their product placement just spit out. We got Coca-Cola. We got Peterbilt trucks mentioned. We got Coca-Cola. Just get it all in there. Everybody's walking around in labeled shirts for Coors, for Coca-Cola, Peterbilt trucks, the whole line.
It's like Adam Sandler levels of product placement.
Yeah. And I thought it would keep up, but it really doesn't, which I appreciated. So Big Enos and Little Enos, they are looking for the Bandit. and they have a job for him. They need him to go to Texas to pick up 400 cases of Coors.
And get it done in 72 hours?
29 hours.
See, I knew it.
You know, the classic time frame. 29, not 24. 29 hours.
And
that's how many hours are in a day.
In the South?
Yes.
Because there's no night.
Longer days.
I get it. They need it back for the end of the big race.
He's never even told where to go. He just says, I
Coors.
gotta go Texarkana.
Go to Texarkana and get some Coors.
I had to look it up because I was like, what's a Texarkana?
But that's it. You know the plot of the movie and what happens from now. I mean, there is not much to this movie.
There is almost nothing. And they let him name his price for this.
Good businessman.
They agreed to give him a big rig. They agreed to give him a car, a fast car, a really fast car, which ends up being a Trans Am, and $8,000 for 400 cases of Coors. And I watched this movie, and a case is just like you're thinking about it now. Paulina, you used to work at a beer. It's 24 bottles.
Yeah.
400 cases. $8,000 just to cash. Let's leave the big rig and the car out of it. That's $20 a case for Coors.
That's
Jesus.
definitely overpaying. Also, why were kegs not enough? Like, I feel like that's easier for that kind of quantity, and they show kegs.
And if you're bringing a big rig, you can fit way more than 400 cases.
Mm-hmm.
You can fit so much Coors. So why not do it? You're already paying $8,000 plus. I think they said $83,000 for that big rig. Plus that Trans Am's probably a good 8 or 9 even back then.
$8,000 in 1977 is $34,000 in today's money.
Yeah.
And so they've shelled out $150,000 at least for this 29-hour job.
Yeah.
These Enos fellas do to have this extra money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, they're Southern. They made their money by not paying for labor.
Wow.
Probably.
Ben,
family money.
Bullseye.
Yeah. It's the South. I just don't like this movie. Doesn't make any sense from the jump. Why not buy way more beer? You're probably going to run out if you're celebrating a big party at a big race that apparently everybody on Earth is coming to. And I should point out, historically, it is accurate. They could not get Coors because it didn't pasteurize, which was not allowed across the Mississippi border because it was an anti-bootlegging law that was still on the books.
Gotcha.
So it's like nowadays, if someone like gets a U-Haul, picks up some Yingling, then nobody would pay that much money to do that.
Yeah.
What's a Yingling?
It's the America's oldest family-owned brewery that's not a Budweiser Coors type. Oldest craft brewery owned by its family.
It doesn't cross the Mississippi. Well, it's going to now. But...
Yeah. The ownership is now muddled.
Okay.
We'll say. So he gets a car, he gets a big rig, he gets cash, and then he goes to his buddy Snowman, who doesn't want to go. And let's just say this now, Snowman and the Bandit, pretty good name.
Sure. Yeah. Although Falcon and the Snowman was a movie a couple years later, so
you got to avoid
I
that.
think, yeah, it wouldn't have been called that if it was called Bandit and the Snowman.
Yeah,
I thought this guy was Snowman because he was because he said he'd been to jail. I thought he was a coke dealer or a coke mule.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just his last name is Snow.
Just his last name. Although truck drivers are notoriously Frost Kings. They make those cross-country trips somehow.
Yeah, that's true. You got to keep it up. I thought, because I didn't remember them naming Bandit. I'm like, surely with Snowman being named after the fact that his last name's Snow, Bandit's probably like some guy named Rob Barry. Like, robbery, like a bandit. Yup.
And we should say the side of his big rig is a mural. It's not, there's no product placement or truck parts.
Yeah,
it's a mural of a highwayman robbing a stagecoach.
Yeah, I was like, is this a Wells Fargo ad?
It's like a red flag to every cop who ever drives by you.
Yeah, and oh my God, this movie is we already talked about CBs. He's on the CB giving away, hey, I'm in a big rig and I got all this stuff and me and Bandit are in on this together. And the cops are listening to the CB and they're hearing all the Bandit stuff and just ignoring that Snowman is in any way involved in this the entire time. So here's the plan, guys. He's got the money. He's got the rig. He's got the car. Here's what he's going to do next. He's going to speed off into the night.
Yes.
Leave Snowman in the dust because they only have 29 hours to go 900 miles. That's in the song. 29 hours to go 900 miles. That's going 60. That is literally 15 hours.
Okay.
But you got to come back. So be fair.
Yeah.
30 hours and 29.
Okay, so he's a blocker. He says this several times. I'm a blocker for the big rig. What does a blocker do?
I think it's kind of like in roller derby. You just kind of take out the people that are trying to mess with your lead guy, which I eventually figured out. Oh, he's doing this. He's like a scout. He looks for danger ahead. And he also takes out any cops and draws their attention away from the hooch.
Because I'd say after this, because they make it there like quick, lickety split. That's done in 15 minutes. It's
16:24.
Yeah. Okay. The majority of the movie's the way back, right?
Yeah.
They spend about 25% of that time within sight of each other. Like, what is the blocker's job? He just goes and fucks around.
Yeah. Also, I'm just going to drop this knowledge on you right now. They say 900 miles and 29 hours, and it's an impossible task. So I'm just like, why not just take the big rig? Both of you are there. One sleeps, one drives. You go the whole time, right? And you'll make it. Go in the speed limit. You might have to push the speed limit for like an hour. Go a little bit faster. That's it. But then I have this handy thing on my phone. It's called Maps. And I punched it in. Atlanta, Texarkana. How long is it? Round trip. It's 9.5 hours each way. It's 19 hours. They have 10 whole hours to do whatever they want. It's a 19-hour round trip.
Well, were all the highways built back then?
I thought the same thing. Were all the highways built back then? Did I Google it? No, I did not. Because is it really going to be...
It's still kind of in progress at that time, yeah?
Yeah, but is it going to be to the point that like you add 10 hours to a 19-hour trip?
I think you were definitely going through some small towns that had to slow you down because you had like one stoplight towns that were technically part of the highway.
Ugh. You know what? You're probably right. It probably was obnoxious enough, just enough to really put that on there. Fine.
Here's the deal. You got $150,000. Buy a fucking helicopter. Buy a puddle jumper plane. Fly that shit.
Yeah.
You can make 2 trips.
Yeah, easy. There's so many better ways to do this. If you wanted 400 cases, put it in the middle of another legitimate order because you have plenty of truck space left.
Hey, someone who lives in Texarkana. How about that? Reach out. You got the money. You got $150,000 laying around to hand off to the Bandit. Get someone there. That's half the time.
Honestly, yeah. Get a bunch of guys. Say, hey, load up your car with Coors. I got free tickets to the rodeo if you bring me this Coors.
I'm Big Enos.
You heard my name. Look, the point, I think what we're getting to is we should be running Coors between Texas and Atlanta. We've got all the plans. We don't even need money. Honestly.
We're running Yin Yang Twins or whatever it is.
Yes. Yin Yang Twins here.
Now, Corky, you said they got to Texarkana, no problems. Which,
no problems.
They can take their sweet time. They have no illegal contraband upon them at that time.
Correct. You're right.
They don't need to worry about it. But, there was a problem. One time, Bandit ran into a cop because he was speeding through town.
Sure.
Probably a 2-stoplight town, so don't be thinking you're above it. And he had to, that's when they showed off his fancy driving skills. He escaped that cop by jumping a curb and nearly hitting a tree and hiding behind the world's smallest bank. And then he grins.
Oh, that's right.
Then he grins at the camera. A little fourth wall action.
Yeah, breaks the fourth wall with the. That's Bruce. I almost call him Bruce Reynolds. Burt Reynolds. Just being like, hey, I got an idea. You know how I'm really fucking charming, right? You know how I am just adorbs? Let me smile at the camera. It's going to play great. So it's like a 3-minute scene of him slowly pulling into frame, looking back, and then smiling at the camera.
Yeah.
Hey, you're right, Paulina. It's total Turd Ferguson. It's all that SNL Celebrity Jeopardy.
Turd Ferguson. Giant hat.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's funny. It's because giant hat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a funny name. Bandit. It's a funny name. Call her Frog because she's hoppy and I want to hop her. I want to jump her. Yeah. God. And then after he escapes the cop, he does speed off. He speeds off to Texarkana, wasting all kinds of gas. Then to hurry up and...
You're really stuck on this gas thing.
I'm just... Look.
You didn't even live through it.
Hey, there's just so many movies that feature like just gas guzzling immediately afterwards. It doesn't make any sense to me that these movies
Speaking
exist.
of gas, Coors, gives you gas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're not drinking. Because all you would the second half of this is...
There'd be a lot of air on the mic, Paulina's mic.
Yeah, I also don't have a great experience with Coors products. Just a scent of Coors Light will make me vomit due to a very bad drinking night. Just tied in there forever.
Their tagline should be Coors, because you like to urinate. That's what it should be. That's all it makes you do. There's no buzz. There's nothing.
Yeah. And to be fair, I was drinking other things that definitely ruined my night, but I'm blaming the Coors as like the thing that led to the final result. But yeah, still to this day, can't even smell the stuff. So they get to Texarkana in literally no time.
They just find that warehouse with all the Coors in it.
Yep. And then they hop on the forklift and they're clearly not certified.
OSHA is pissed at this movie.
The OSHA's coming after them. That's who's smoking it.
OSHA and the Bandit. It's so weird watching these old movies because when I watch them, I see like their bell bottoms. I'm like, there's so much material at their feet. I'm so used to skinny jeans.
Burt Reynolds' pants are real tight up top though. Like that's very much the style for ladies right now. It's like coming back.
My man was dressing to the right. I don't know if anybody knows. It wasn't like it was like all ball, like all. Like, it was all ball.
That wasn't help yet.
I was like, dressing to the right. What is that? Oh, I got it.
You don't have that problem, so I didn't understand the reference either. Ladies don't tuck to either side.
It's just like Burt Reynolds, just like, yeah, I'm showing off the balls, showing off the goods. Ladies like a nice double ball. I call it the double bubble.
Ugh, there's just a sticky wad of gum down there. But yeah, they rob Coors. That's what
basically. Nope.
They're like, oh, they're not open. Don't call for anybody. Don't ask around.
They break in. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. Fred hated Cletus. Fred the dog.
Fred is better. Fred was the star of the movie as far as I'm concerned. Fred is an American hero.
Fred was like, you know what? If I'm a part of this, you're going to have to lift me in and out of every shot. Yep. I refuse to be a part of this.
Yeah, I will not go willingly for these shenanigans. This is a bad script. I'm a dog.
Fred's in his own trailer. Just like, I'm not coming to set. He's feuding with Sally Field.
And he deserves better. Fred the dog, bloodshot eye the whole time.
Cute little basset hound.
Oh, God. They're so
cute,
ugly.
big basset hound.
He's a great swimmer.
But yeah, they steal all that stuff, and then they leave, and they leave a note like, please charge Enos. And then like, how do we spell his last name?
No, he's illiterate. I mean, basically, he gives up on trying to write a last name, and it's like, all right, we're leaving. Yeah. So not only on top of all of this is you have an illiterate man speeding down the freeway.
Well, easy excuse, can't read the sign. Don't know what the speed limit is.
There you go.
Can't read the speedometer. Don't know what it is. Just a thing that moves as far as I'm concerned. Matchy matchy? I can't tell that.
Matching.
6565? Don't know. Can't. I've already taken my eyes off it. I got to get them right next to each other, or else I won't know.
What you see as stop, I see as go. So officer, I should be able to go home.
So I am free to stop. Thank you.
That'll work in court.
I think it's always held up when I've gone. It doesn't hold up. Okay, just anybody who's looking for legal counsel from this,
don't try it.
It won't work. Stop. Just pay the fine. It's a fine. Pay it. It's no ramifications. Just pay it, and no one cares.
The law firm of Rice, Olivares, and McDonnell does not exist. So please do not take any legal advice from this podcast.
Yeah, but we will take a retainer.
Absolutely.
We'll load those up, get our degrees, come back to you.
Retainers, braces, whatever you got.
For retainers, I don't know if they fit.
Try them on.
Right now. Just talk the rest of the time with it on. Just drooling everywhere.
Do I have to go to school, Mom?
Do I have to go to work? So this is where the movie really takes off. This last half of the movie. The first 1624, not a whole lot happens. The last 1624, jam-packed with actually the same
if you like traffic, if you like being on the freeway.
They encounter a broken down car with just married on it.
Not only just married, she's literally in a gown.
Yup. And no betrothed to be seen.
She runs out in front of the car, a speeding car. She runs out in front of it. Like, she was trying to off herself. We know that, right? I mean, we're all in agreement with that. She's like, everything's ending today. But what I don't get is like, okay, you abandon your own wedding. She says, I left as I was walking down the aisle. The first thing you would do is get out of that fucking dress, right? I mean, that would be the first stop. You wouldn't just drive in your gown, or do you wear it because it's just still your special day? She's such a bridezilla.
I mean, I've never run away from a wedding, but when I do, I will let you know.
Because we find out her betrothed doesn't change either. He still wears his tux, his fucking My Fair Lady tux around.
Yeah, with his little badge on it.
Oh, that's right. He put a badge on his tux.
Yeah, to let you know.
He's so shit kicker.
And just so we're clear, the betrothed who's wearing the badge is also not Smokey. That's not the guy that's in search.
Smokey.
It's so dumb. So yeah, anyway, he nearly kills a woman. She's looking to off herself, and he's like, you want to ride? I am a criminal hauling things, and I'm on a budget, and I've got very little time for this. But,
by the way, you're ugly and gross, which she just loves.
Oh, God. Yeah, he loves
He criticizes her legs.
Yep, calls her fat.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it's not fat. Look, it's not that fat. And he's like, fatter than mine are.
I mean, the temerity, the actual dressing to the right balls to call Sally Field fat. 28-year-old Sally Field. She's rail thin.
Yeah.
But this man just only knows how to neg.
Yeah.
She talks about her dancing career, and she's like, I'm a professional. He's like, in that case, you shouldn't wear white. Told her a hooker.
Yeah. God. Yeah, he could not have cared. Like, we're finally getting to know each other, and he could not have cared less about anything she had to say.
I think the real love story is between him and Cletus. I think that's the real, because like that is he lays on him in bed. It's really about a journey they take literally together.
He's like, leave your wife for me.
They met in prison. I think it's really about their closeness, their bond.
Yeah, friendship, love. It can exist.
I mean, Cletus obviously does not go back to all of his children that he clearly didn't want, with his wife that he clearly doesn't love.
He's absconded from that life.
Yeah, she's all in her rollers, just raising like 8 kids alone.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't show back up. That is fair.
It is Cletus and Kate plus 28 in that house.
Just a small point. Well, we're picking up Frog, whose name is Carrie, but I don't remember that being the case. He slams on his brakes for this woman and nearly runs Snowman off the road by doing so. And then Snowman almost hits a truck that's stopped at a stop sign full of some ruffians.
Mm-hmm.
And those ruffians, after he takes away Frog, they go up to that just married car.
Start pilfering.
Yeah. And then that's when the evil villain enters the film in the form of a sheriff with a deputy lawman with his corsage. Oh God. So this is my favorite part. The cops pull up. There's ruffians looking through this car, and the ruffians don't stop when they hear a cop car pull up.
Yes.
They don't hear it when the doors close, but when the sheriff snaps his lighter closed, they're like, "Oh shit, there's people here."
Jeez, it's the heat. Johnny Law's here with his lighter.
Loved it, and then he introduces himself as Sheriff Buford T. Justice,
which was the actual name of a Southern lawman. They got that name from an actual, I think it was Florida, or a Georgian lawman.
Man,
and that just sounds like Southern lawman.
That's a great name. Why are they
Buford
bothering
T.
with Smokey?
Justice.
Buford and the Bandit is also a good name.
Yeah, Justice and the Bandit. But actually, I mean,
this movie should be called anything but what it is.
You know what? We're talking shit, but this was the second highest grossing movie of 1977 behind Star Wars.
Yep.
Like, this movie crushed.
Yeah. Made bank.
And inspired as big of a universe as Star Wars.
Yeah, the trilogy also. So
there are people who say The Mandalorian is more an ode to Smokey and the Bandit than Star Wars. It inhabits that world.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see these prequels. How do you become a rodeo legend that everyone knows on the CB? Let's figure it out.
Mando is medium Enos. People don't know that.
There's original Enos.
There's little Enos, big Enos, medium Enos, incomplete Enos, uncircumcised Enos. Therethere's not much to talk about in the movie. You gotta.
There's not.
It's a driving movie.
Also, the sheriff finds out who he needs to chase because the ruffians remember the car that got away, because everybody knows when you're a criminal running a criminal enterprise, you need specialized, personalized license plates. Ban 1.
How did he get that so fast? Like, he just got the money about the car.
That's true.
It's a different time. They just like, what do you want? And they just hammer it out right there.
Yeah. Things went way faster back in 1977 than they do now.
This speaks so much to this movie is timeless in the fact that people that you shouldn't trust and that are doing crimes are getting caught because they're bad at them. Like, anybody can commit a crime. It's real hard to not get caught at them. That's what separates.
I do like, though, of seeing a time when, like, police didn't dress like, military members. Yeah. And they didn't have all that kind of equipment. Not to get like too heavy on anything, but it was nice thinking that, oh yeah, you could just outrun cops back then.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom outran a cop once in Idaho.
Oh yeah.
We were in a rental minivan going through Idaho on a back road. My mom always had
that. The story started with my mom outran a cop. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. Your mom was a wild kid. Then we were in a minivan. It's like, oh no, the kids were in the car too.
Yeah. It's a family of 8. It's a family of 8 in a rented minivan traveling from Seattle to North Dakota for a family reunion. We're on a dirt road in Idaho. Cop gets behind us. My mom's already plowing through that state and just beats him to the border. Just outruns him to the border.
She's like, open. This is Big Mama with an 8-pack. Come back. Trying to get from Forks to Fargo.
But this reminds me, we mentioned remaking this movie. I think real easy one for the beau that's not Bandit, the beau that's the husband, the betrothed. looks an awful lot like Billy Crudup.
I see it.
Oh,
Let's just put Billy Crudup in there.
they
Mhm.
made him like a real like goof oaf, but that dude was like a professional football player. That dude was he played Tarzan in a few movies.
So
You
goof
very,
off.
Old classic, like 70s handsome face.
Yes.
just saying, he looks good in a loincloth. That's all I'm saying. Oh, hello.
Not too bad in a suit.
That was the Enos in the loincloth. I don't know why it's so funny. I didn't even laugh that hard during the movie, but now talking about it.
Now talking about it, it doesn't help that Little Enos is Paul Williams. I mean, great singer-songwriter, but just a funny-looking dude. I mean, Little Enos, Paul Williams, you know who Paul Williams is?
No.
Sang all those songs for like Bugsy Malone.
No.
He wrote a bunch of those 70s ditties. Was a coke monster back in the 70s. But he's a funny-looking dude.
Yeah, he's a weird-looking guy. So this movie then jumps to Carrie taking off her wedding dress in the car to reveal a full outfit underneath. You know, somebody who's really ready to get married always has a complete outfit underneath the wedding dress.
I got the impression that she got her clothes out of her bag and was using that as like a dress tent.
Oh.
That's what I thought was happening too.
Yeah, but the dialogue from when she's under there was like she's discovering parts of her body she never knew existed. Oh, what's that? I'll just tuck it in. It's like, you're 28, huh? Time for some self-exploring.
It wasn't very encouraged back then.
Yeah.
That's true. It is the 70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She had never felt so free as when she's in the Bandit's car.
Yeah. And speaking of killer jokes in this movie, she gets a sick burn in on Burt Reynolds real quick. She's like, "Why so fast? You late for a big bowling game?"
I didn't understand. I was like, is this like a reference that like I'm too young to understand, or like it's just a bad line?
That's the joke.
Okay.
I like bowling game.
Yeah. You
It's
got
like saying football meetup.
one time Sally Field played a stand-up comedian in a movie.
That's true.
How bad is it?
It's real. Tom Hanks is the pro who teaches her the ropes.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's real bad.
It's got a bunch of real comics in it, though, like Damon Wayans, Barry Sobel, from the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
She was also a flying nun on TV.
Oh, yes.
That was the whole plot of the show.
Yes, the flying nun. A nun who can fly.
She was so light, and meanwhile, Burt Reynolds calling her fat.
Yeah.
She was so light that the hat she wore, the winds would blow her around. That's the fucking plot of a show.
That ran
It's
for
because-
seasons.
The
Yes.
osteoporosis, because she has to take Boniva. She has no bone mass, so of course she's gonna fly away in the wind.
That's true. That was a part of her character backstory. She was born with bird bones, so her bones are actually hollow.
So this might be like her Jesse Spano, like, I got to get out of this role as a skinny fly around nun. I'm going to play this fat cow hooker.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Was she?
No, he tells her she is. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay. No.
This because she's not fat and she's not a hooker, but this is the role where they say
I like
she
how
is.
I was buying fat cow, but I was like, I don't think she's a sex worker. Fat cow, yes.
Yes, 100. Sally Field, of course, renowned.
Oh, what a grosso.
Yeah.
She was lovely. She's beautiful.
Yeah, looked great the whole movie. Anyway, so now the movie picks up. This is where all the action starts, and it's just one car chase after another. Different jurisdictions, different bumbling buffoon cops being outwitted the same way, being run into water. There's a water hazard. Those cops are finding it. Sometimes they're skinny cops, and sometimes they're fat cops peeing on the side of the road because, only an unprofessional fat cop would need to pee during a 12-hour shift. So
I feel like
sometime
it wasn't very clear that he was peeing because he
Oh.
was like facing the door and zipping his pants. Like it was weird. Like
I didn't know any.
I don't know.
There was a urination scene. I didn't catch that.
What was the joke about the 0100 and 0200? And then they
Yes.
referenced it later.
Well, they milked that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, this is So they have stunt doubles, wide shots of these chases with very clearly a dude in the passenger seat wearing a wig that looks nothing like Sally Fields' hair. No body type, not the same. Facial structure, not the same. Clearly,
a full beard.
Didn't even try. Not for a wink. And then we get Hal Needham classic. Here's a shot of a guy fishing.
Yeah.
And then he jumped in the water and the car wasn't even going to hit him.
Yeah, but first they're racing through. They get off the road and they get on the dirt, and then there's a guy fishing, and then there's more dirt being kicked up, and then there's a guy fishing, and then there's more dirt, and then Bandit makes a jump, and then the cop makes a different jump, and he's like a good 15 feet away from this guy fishing. And he goes like, oh, what? Oh.
I mean, not to get too heavy, but of course it's the black guy overreaction shot. Like that is a Hollywood staple, especially in that. I mean, even Caddyshack has one, of a black guy fishing, like that kind of stuff. And I'm glad you brought up Wide Shot. Not to go too far backwards, but I'm glad you brought up Wide Shot because when we first meet Buford T. Justice, Jackie Gleason, we meet him in a wide shot, and that was obviously the first shot of the day, the first take, because when they do the close up of the scene. Whiskey sweats have set in because Jackie Gleason's collar, is just soaked through, and it keeps cutting back. So he's like dry, wet, dry, wet.
It's masterfully shot, masterfully edited.
Oh, when you got Hal Needham,
you got to get those smooth cuts.
Yes,
continuity.
Goodfellas has better continuity than this movie, and Goodfellas is a masterpiece. But if you watch. Shots don't match up. Different people are in the background, but it's okay because it's fucking Goodfellas. In this movie, cars will get wrecked, and then the next scene they're perfectly fine driving off. That Buford T. Justice's car hits things in each scene, and it's just fine for a while.
Yeah, until like we can't not acknowledge.
Then it gets comically ridiculous. Yeah,
yeah. We've established Bandit is speeding. He's the lead man, getting snow out there, and he's driving. And then all of a sudden, the sheriff gets on the CB radio to start talking to him because he found the channel, which they'd agreed they'd say one channel, but go to a different channel. Oh, what a brilliant scheme that is! There's 18 channels? How hard can it be to find you? And so he's like, I know who you are, and you've got my guy's gal in all this business, and then. The Bandit looks up and the sheriff is right behind him.
Yeah. Somehow they didn't notice.
Surely he's keeping a lookout as he's speeding and fails to notice a sheriff. Right behind him. This happens over and over again. They're constantly like a block from each other and they know what the car looks like. It's a Trans Am. It stands out. There's a Texas cop in the middle of another state, and it's like they never acknowledge each other when they're like more than 5 feet away. The whole time.
It's like my favorite scene in Lord of the Rings, Twin Towers, when they're fucking Legolas, Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli are running along, chasing after the orcs that have taken Frodo and Sam or whoever, the two dwarfs, Merry and Pip. And he goes, Legolas, what do your elf eyes see? And he looks off and he's like, tells him about the orc hordes taking Merry and Pip. Because Legolas can see for miles, right? Mm-hmm. There's a shot of them on the hilltop and they scatter. And then the riders of Rohan are just like right there. Like this is a fucking 1,000 deep horse stampede. And they're just right there. Like Legolas did not pick up on, nobody felt the vibrations in the ground. Smelled the oncoming hordes.
Nothing. Yeah. And this movie very much like Lord of the Rings in that
very
exact
much
respect and nothing else.
It's a quest.
There's a short guy.
There's a short guy. It takes place in a land that shouldn't exist, the South. Yeah, that's right. I said it.
Yeah. And you never know who's good or bad as they twist and turn, and you've got your morals. That's not true. Yep. You always know. Here's the thing. I'm only saying that because in this chase scene where the cop shows up, Snowman reappears despite driving at a much slower clip than the Bandit, and he like straight up runs the sheriff off the road, like gets under him and tilts him at a 45-degree angle, and then T-bones him and gets him off the road in a big rig, hits a cop car, and shoves it off into water. And they acted like it's this tiny inconvenience for the cop.
Right.
Then he says, "Oh, he tried to drive under my rig or something."
Not like I tried to murder a cop.
Yeah. Like, at the least, that's vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's attempted murder for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, as we've seen this year, you touch a cop's bike, they will fucking mace you and beat you down.
Yeah. He's like, I
and
just
people
got that.
standing next to you.
Yeah. This movie is in a different reality in every way.
I wonder how the Blue Lives Matter clan feels about this, because the cops are like stupid.
They're so torn.
Do their jobs.
Yeah.
They're like, well, they're beating the cops, but they are white, so they're like all confused.
Yeah. These cops are bad at being cops. Yeah. And they act like, oh, I ran this cop off the road. That's the last we'll hear of cops. As if no cop would ever take offense and pursue them even harder than before.
Mm-hmm. You think Buford T. Justice just went into that line of work because of his last name?
You know,
like,
I think
if he was Buford T. Baker, like, would he just be some really angry cake maker?
Probably. I'll believe that, because like his son clearly didn't want to be a cop, but he's like, I got this last name, Justice.
Yep.
Guess I'll do that then.
Family business, you know. He's got, yeah. But then there's that line later in the movie where he's like, "You didn't come from my loins, so first thing I'm gonna do when I get home is I'm gonna pop your mom in the mouth."
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
That's a punchline.
That's a Jackie Gleason staple, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because the honeymooners bang zoom
straight
to the moon, Alice. That was about beating your wife to outer space.
It's like, that Futurama joke is so good. It's talking about going to space. He's like, he's not talking about going to space. He's using that as a metaphor for beating his wife. But yeah, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, so you just play a better trick, I guess. Make it more obvious that he's just going to beat women. Funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny joke. Kurt Ferguson.
We are like halfway through this movie.
I'm going to just rip through this thing. We've gone way too long for this movie that doesn't.
Some they call it functional alcoholism.
Okay, so we're just establishing that cops are bad. They're bad in this movie. They're bad in the world. But there's one cop who is good.
Yes.
The guy's like, hey, help me out. There's these guys, and they're speeding, and they got beer. I don't know how I know that, but they got beer. You got to help me. And he's like, this isn't your jurisdiction. Go home.
Yeah. In this southern town, probably the first black sheriff, achieved a lot. And Buford T. Justice System loads a bunch of racial bullshit on him.
Yeah.
And it's played for yucks.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, then at the end, when it's finally revealed, he sees him, because he didn't assume he was the sheriff. And he's like, oh,
Yes.
you sounded taller.
He
Yeah.
calls him boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a gag that was in Taken of Pelham 123 with Walter Matthau. He does the same. It's the same exact joke. It's like, oh, I thought you were younger. And it's not played like it's just funny in and of itself. It's the white presumption. It makes him the butt of the joke. This does not. Because he even just goes, what is the world coming to? Like, and then every person in the drive-in fucking high-fived, polished their Confederate flags, shot rifles in the air, and chugged a Coors.
Yeah. This cop is the best. He's the best sheriff. Super chill. He's like, know your jurisdiction, stay in your lane. They're like, we got to go get this guy. He's like, don't speed. Don't risk damage to your vehicle for these small time crooks. And they're like, we got to speed up to him. He's getting away. He's like, don't worry about it. That bridge is out. I know my jurisdiction. I know what I'm policing. Like, don't do anything reckless. You cause damage to this car, it's coming out of your paycheck because it's stupid to cause damage over nothing. There's a
TikTok of him hitting softballs with a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's a good guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the bridge is out, and Bandit jumps it. And it's because he's an awesome driver. And then somehow the car's going at the same speed that our police cars that are designed to be better than regular cars just dive right into the water. Because water.
It's just funny. That's comedy.
Southern sheriffs are all staffed by Wicked Witch of the West. So water is their nemesis. You don't know this.
And then once they get away from there, Bandit makes the decision that he needs to lighten the load. So he decides that the person he didn't need to pick up in the first place needs to get out of the car. And he's like, we got to drop her off at the choke and puke.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Rest stop, like a trucker's eatery.
Yeah. Like a rest stop.
Why do you choke and you puke?
Chuck. Like.
Chuck. I thought it was choke.
I heard choke. Over and over again, I heard
Oh,
choke.
you guys heard choke and puke?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a million
that's like-
times.
That's like a rough sex act.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was happening in the 70s?
Oh, that's the most unrealistic about this is none of these truck drivers are serial killers.
That we know of.
That we know of. That's
Yeah.
true. Snow had some secrets.
Yeah. That biker gang?
That was the most realistic beatdown scene of all time. I felt bad for Jerry Reed at the end of that.
Yeah, I was waiting to like just fight everyone off at once, and I was like, "Oh no, he's really getting his ass beat."
Yeah, he
And
was
he's gonna
fucking.
crawl.
He even sells the fall out the front door. He smacks his head on the concrete.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, Jerry, save it.
When he dropped off at the choke and puke, whatever you want to say, it's like a bus stop that has a restaurant attached to it. And then there, it's like a gas station with a bar attached to it. You know, like you do.
Well, have you ever driven in the middle of California?
I imagine there's things. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There'll be a Denny's with a gift shop inside with a little sex worker booth and then truck stops around it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just convenient.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything you need.
So when they're at the bus stop restaurant, choke and puke, this is when.
By the way, this episode is sponsored by Love's.
This is when Bandit and Smokey meet for the first time, face to face, but only
they don't
one
know
of
it.
them knows it.
Yep. This was actually a funny bit. You can see Jackie Gleason's comedy chops in this, eating and being loud and obnoxious at the same time. Burt Reynolds is barely holding it in.
Yeah.
He's cracking up.
Yeah, I love when he's like, bank robbers got nothing on this guy. He's out here breaking mailboxes.
He said something that really cracked me up.
Yeah, he's just really like on this guy for literally nothing. They're like, why are you chasing this guy? And he's like, here's the reasons. And they're like, no reason to chase the guy. But he's so mad. And then Bandit points him and he's like, I go to the bathroom. And he's like, here's where the bathroom is. And then he runs out of the diner, which is not at all suspicious. And then the next time we see the sheriff, he's got a big old string of toilet paper hanging off his shoe and he doesn't know it.
Oh, waitress comes out and points it out to him, walks away, and he looks back and goes, nice ass.
It was not though. It wasn't even like, it was very like she was wearing like an apron. Like there wasn't like any shape.
Yeah, you couldn't really tell.
Not to like body shame or anything. I'm not talking
No.
about, like there was no like, it was just like an apron.
Probably the least flattering outfit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just showed he's just very lecherous.
He's the bad guy. He's not just being gross to attractive women. He's being gross to all women. So he's bad. Thin line between good and evil, you know.
It's
Yeah.
subtle. It's so subtle in this movie.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed about this movie, subtlety. So anyway, the toilet paper, he's getting back on the road. You know who else is getting back on the road? Bandit, but he's supposed to be alone. But he's not.
Yeah. Frog is now driving the car.
Yep.
And this is when it becomes even more apparent there is a man stunt driver.
And again, these cars are parked in the same parking lot. They know what car they're looking for.
They have the license plate.
Yeah, his son is in the cop car still, keeping lookout. Frog's driving, and she's doing a pretty good job. But Bandit, being the male guy, has to be like, I would like to drive. So there's a sexy seat change. You know, because there's body parts on body parts and things where they shouldn't be, and hands, and it's not sexy. Very uncomfortable. But I think it was supposed to be sexy, and
not for me.
Didn't work.
There's a part where she says, "Ooh, I'm in love with your belt buckle."
Oh, she did say that. I think there's two times that they try it, and one of the times you're like, I've seen it in the movies. So, like, why would...
But that's because that's a gag you want coming back as much as you can. You're just like, oh, give me more of that stuff. That was good. The almost seat change.
Because that seat change takes like 7 minutes.
Yes.
And then they don't do it, and eventually they change seats when they like pull over. But because we can't have a woman driving in this movie.
No, this is America.
Yeah. And this is where, as they're doing the seat change, that's when the big thing where, Corky, you mentioned that damage doesn't exist in this movie. This is where damage does exist. There's a big rig blocking the entire roadway with no flashing lights, no cones up, no warning that, hey, this road's about to be blocked. And Smokey sees it several seconds in advance to make the proper maneuver to avoid it. And as becomes a running theme, Buford T. Justice appears to have his eyes anywhere but forward and decapitates his sedan.
Right. Unfortunately, not him and his son.
That would have been an interesting end to the movie.
Yeah.
Or just his son, and then he still chases after him.
And then it's like a revenge film.
Look how you massacred my boy. You did that. If you'd have looked at the road at all, because again, the Bandit avoided it by tons of time. Had plenty of time to avoid this big rig. This is when I became aware that Bandit had a big-ass turquoise ring on. Did you see it before that, or only then?
No.
I did not notice it.
Yeah.
In the 70s, you were legally required to have some bit of that jewelry at all time.
Yeah, but I did not see it. I didn't go back. I didn't double-check my work. But this is when I'm like, oh, he's got his hand on the steering wheel. Like, that's a big-ass ring. How did I not notice that ring before? Because I think it's new. That's why.
I mean, the entire time I'm like, why is he so tan? He was like burnt Reynolds.
Ah! Cut it. Wrap it up. Podcast over. Fucking, it's not going to get any better than that.
It really isn't. There's more crashes. There's more hijinks. The beer gets there. And the podcast.
And then some prostitutes.
Can we talk about that? The sex wagon? I mean...
Let's talk about it.
I mean, you have to.
Support sex workers. Like, the support that the people make their way with this. It's called the oldest profession for a reason. It's very, very okay to do.
As longtime listeners of Barley and me know, I absolutely love music. And I've had a few incredible musicians take the time to sit down with me to appear on the podcast. And as luck would have it, many of those musicians have or will be releasing brand new albums in November and December. So I wanted to give them a quick plug and let you sample their wares, with permission. These albums are available to stream or purchase on bandcamp.com unless otherwise noted. Throughout this crisis, Bandcamp has been giving the vast majority of money directly to the artist, unlike most streaming services. Up first, we have the latest from episode 127 guest Jordan Zadarozny and his band Blinker the Star. This is Silent Types, off the brand new album, Juvenile Universe. Or maybe you prefer upcoming guest Mike Venard, formerly of Ocean Size and British Theatre, and longtime touring guitarist for massive UK rockers Biffy Clyro. This is Super Sleuth, from his solo project Venard's latest album, In the Dead, Dead Wood. Plus, the composer of beloved Barley and Me theme Functional Alcoholism and episode 97 guest Dean Hawkinson's band Be Brave, Bold Robot just put out their greatest hits while they wait for final mixing on their latest album. This is A Letter to Violet Edison.
I never had a room of my own, but now the coop has been flown.
And lastly, the creator of the original Barley and Me theme, Jamrock, Breeze,
on a moonlit
just
night,
put out his new single, Life Matters, on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and Napster.
Life matters. These are the matters of life.
That's Breeze, B-R-E-E-Z, with the new single Life Matters with a Z.
Life matters. These are the matters of life. I keep getting turned around, no matter I'm back now. So come get a taste, the truth is right in your face. These right here, yeah, that's right.
Back to the show. And then this, speaking of Hal Needham and what he always puts in things, he manages to, again, really sell an upcoming event with a random shot of a funeral procession.
Not only a funeral procession where there's the CB in the hearse, because even the hearse guys are CBers, and they know the Bandit.
Yeah, and despite it being a brand new car, they're like, that's him. We know him. That's the guy. That's the Bandit. Not only do we know his handle, we know his face from a distance. We know his driving style. We know all. This is definitely him. And so the guy riding shotgun in that hearse, he's like, this is the grave robber. that's his handle.
That should not be your handle. That's a disgusting act.
I mean, because you're not even stealing from the graveyard, you're giving to it, if anything.
Yes.
Accurate.
Well, because, see, you're in the underground, right? It's kind of a seedy underbelly of driving on the highways. So you got to be a semi-criminal aspect to it because you're in the seedy underbelly. So you work with the dead. So grave robber, there's the criminal aspect of being the renegade.
It could have been like the grave digger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, in hindsight, he should have done, because I don't think that monster truck existed yet. He would have made bank if he'd just named him Gravedigger and trademarked it. Hal Needham would never make another movie. Everybody wins.
Just see a big-ass hearse on big truck wheels, monster wheels.
Does that exist? I feel like it probably does at this point.
It should, huh?
It probably does.
The Crypt Keeper, this Sunday.
And there's like an actual dead body in there.
Fucking coffins fall out the back when it goes on the two wheels.
Yeah. So they get through the procession because they're good drivers, and it gets all the other cops off the road because they can't handle other cars on the road because those cars are longer and slower in formation, so it's harder to drive. And then they're still speeding. So they still have not switched. They have not done their sexy switch yet. Sally Field's still driving. Frog's still on the wheel. And then she, because she is not a professional driver, she fails to see the end of the road and a chain link fence. And so she crashes through and enters a high school football field and drives through the crowd and enters like the grandstand and drives right through it. And everybody is fine.
In the South, that doesn't even interrupt the game. They go right to the next play after that.
I'm like looking at, like when they did the wide shot, I'm like, you can't aim to that point. That's like this thing will cave in on itself. Everyone will die. The way that you're framing this.
And the cars fine after too. Like there's no damage.
Yeah, they're all fine. Like everything's fine. But like the way that they shot it, like everyone should have died. Get her somewhere else in that grandstand or to the left of it. But no, go through the grandstand. And then the sheriff finally manages to stop in time after 9,000 times not stopping in time. he finally stops in time, and then he asks the husband guy, his son, "Hey, what's ahead?" And he says, "A football game. Can we stay and watch, Daddy?" Because he's dumb.
He is.
And he doesn't care about this marriage at all. I don't know why it failed.
Knew he was getting married.
He probably proposed. This was probably his idea to do it. And then his wife's like, nah. And it seems like he's fine with that.
Yeah, because all the lines about her being disrespectful to whatever, it's coming from the father, not from him at all. Like, he's not hurt. He's not some jilted lover. But, I mean, she does say they only knew each other for a few days, right? They met at a boat show or something.
He paid $40 for the wedding, he said. And he was fucking miffed about that. But $40 in 1977 money is like $160 now.
So it's still nothing.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we better waste the gas driving through 5 states to do this. Which, to be fair, gas was only like 10 cents a gallon, so it was probably, he only wasted like $4. So
also, to be fair, it's a cop car, so it's not coming out of his pocket.
yeah, he's on official police business.
Your tax dollars at work.
That's what this movie's about.
And then we have this is where we have an immortal meetup between Frog and Snowman, where we find out that Snowman's for real. What he says on that CB, he brings into the real world. And manages to focus only on the sexuality of Frog. Tells her she has a nice ass.
You know, he tells Bandit she has a nice ass.
Who's talking to whom? What? Why things are happening? Don't know. Look, for listeners at home, time, we respect you. We're going to power through this thing. We already talked about Snowman taking his licks. We already did that. We already talked about hookers and sex positive things. And by the way, while we're on the topic, I am going to do an episode in the future with the host of the Oldest Profession podcast, which discusses sex work throughout American history.
Nice.
Pretty cool. And we're going to pair her up with a beer journalist who talks about women's history in beer. So it's going to be a good episode. Look out for that. Look at that plug. Masterful. All right. So yeah, if you get through all that and all the women loving Bandit from afar, or it sounds like up close and personal also, and they still have a little twinkle in their eye that maybe he'll pass through again, because he's so sexy. He's a criminal. He's a bad boy, and he's Burt Reynolds.
There's sex workers that reach out to him. There's a woman who's just at some diner, Hot Pants,
yep.
Who's at a diner, and then there's like a team of cheering spectators that are just all women got out there, made their signs for the Bandit. I mean, this guy is wanted, not by the law, but by the women. Women want him, and the men want to be the women who want him.
Yeah. My favorite, Jesse Jones on Stab, he had this line. It's like, it was obsequious wine was like, make an ad for obsequious wine or movie makeup. And he's like, I do an ad about it. He's like, men want to be him. Women want to be with him. Or the other way around. Or both. Obsequious wine.
Yeah, I mean, I get that I'm not the target demographic.
What?
And that wasn't my era, but like, I don't see it.
Bert?
Doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, he's got a great smile. If you're into mustaches, he's got a good one. If you're not into mustaches, you're a person.
There's like legit 5 inches of balls there.
Is that all you were seeing in the movie?
Huh?
Is that all you could see during the movie? Just like
Yes. I was checking for it. It's so tight. Even while he's driving, it's like crowding into the shot. Like a boom mic hanging down. Balls keep floating up in the shot.
Oh, man. So more hijinks ensue, more cops get involved, more chases. Finally, a cop is like, hey, this truck probably is involved in this, but it's really more by happenstance that he sees a truck going too fast because they're at the last hour, and this motorcycle cop pulls over the Snowman, and he's like, hey there, Bandit, I'm gonna need some help here with this here two-wheeler. and Bandit's like, I'm on it, and he comes driving down the highway the wrong way and makes a U-turn, and then Frog gives him the finger, and the cop's like, well, screw this ticket. I'm going to go get these guys who were clearly trying to get my attention, and I don't know why.
Right.
But I could just let him go because they haven't really, no one said harm here.
And the cop has clearly written down this guy's license plate and truck information in his book. It's not like he's getting out of anything.
Yeah.
The cop is just like, no, I have a more pressing lawbreaker right now.
But now it's APB, all posts bulletin. All these guys got to go get this guy who flipped me off, and they're all going, and more cops end up in water. But sometimes this is a change. Big Hal Needham switch up. He doesn't have the same. It's not always the same joke. Some of them end up in a ravine. So they get back to the race grounds because they've outrun all the cops, and they're coming into the fairgrounds for the race, and they're coming in high speed with their horns blaring, and literally everybody is more excited for this big rig coming into the race field than the race that they're going to see that's a championship race.
Yeah. Also, I don't think their truck is refrigerated, so it kind of defeats the whole purpose of bringing the Coors.
Yeah. The only thing worse than Coors is warm Coors. And it was just sitting in a warehouse anyway. That shit was warm when they got it.
Yeah. There was no
Now
refrigeration.
it's hot.
Yeah, it was like it had direct sunlight on it when they picked it up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we've got plenty of natural light here in this refrigeration room. Yeah.
It adds more flavor. Everyone knows that.
Everybody knows that the skunk flavor is what you want in that beer.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're drinking nothing, and then you're peeing a lot and farting. And
Is this a can of piss? I don't. No, that's Coors. Just as good.
Yeah. So they pull in and they make the handoff. They make the discreet paraphernalia handoff to Big Enos and Little Enos.
Yep.
I've been running drugs and beer illegally for years, so I know the best place to do that is in the infield of a racetrack with thousands of people in the stands. That's where you make your illegal handoff.
You want the most eyes you can have on your illegal transaction.
Yeah.
It's like when shoplifters try to do something very brazen, because then you I wouldn't do that in public, but like they still did it and you caught them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you do it to their face, they can't call you on it. It's like, well,
right.
Because you're like, surely they're not doing this to my face. That's so disrespectful.
It's like when you try to steal an election while claiming the election was stolen from you.
Yeah. It's
not that would ever happen.
In theory.
In theory.
No.
In theory. Here's the thing. If you admit to what you're doing, you can't be brought down, because like most of the time when you're like proving somebody is committing a crime, it's because they're trying to cover it up. But if you're just doing it, they're like, wait, hold on. What do we do with this? They're like, you prosecute them for the crime. They're like, but usually they cover it. So this must be legal because nobody'd be stupid enough to do this in the open. They're like, that's why we do it in the open, because you think that nothing's wrong because we're doing it in the open. And why would a criminal do it in the open?
Exactly. Watergate was only a thing because Nixon tried to cover it up.
Yeah.
And the press had to go digging for it. You do it in the open, there's nowhere to go. They just report it and normalize it.
This movie actually is great.
Great commentary.
What a crazy thing.
Whoa.
Of all the laws broken in the movie, the bootlegging the Coors was the most innocent. Several people ended up in the hospital, if not died.
Yeah.
A lot of property damage.
A lot of property damage. Mailboxes destroyed, as mentioned. Attempted cop murder. Like dozens of times.
Yeah.
Reckless driving, reckless endangerment of an animal, like just so many
theft of toilet paper.
Yup. Across county lines.
Yes. I mean, that's 40 lineal yards of toilet paper that he took.
The cops show up to this exchange, but they're a little bit late because Bandit and Snowman and Frog have now gotten into a sports car, like a caddy, getting a caddy, and they're driving off of said infield, the only other vehicle besides the known criminal transaction. And the cops are like, yeah, let that car go.
the phalanx of cops is like, yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Let the car just leave.
What's that? The criminals are on the infield and it's a circle and they're trapped inside of it and we shouldn't let anybody out? Well, this one's not. You said it was a big rig and these guys in crushed powder suits. So this Cadillac, the
Lock
cheap...
down this whole stadium. But no, that caddy's good. Let him through.
Let it go.
The only time in the world where a nice caddy like that has been bought by someone with big enos. Usually it's a little enos compensating.
And then Justice T. Burnett shows up just in time to crash one more time.
Justice T. Burnett.
What's his name? Buford T. Justice.
No, it's Justice T. Burnett now.
T-Bone Burnett,
singer.
Renowned country music producer.
Justice T. Burnett.
Buford T. Justice. Shut up.
Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Setting up the sequel.
They just evaded the police, and all of a sudden, there's a new job on the line to go to. They're going to get some clam chowder.
Yeah, in Boston. This movie ends kind of like it starts once the sheriff gets involved with him making veiled threats through the CB, and he's yelling into the wind, I know who you are. I'm gonna get you. You haven't seen the last of me. I'm Buford T. Justice, Smokey the Bandit, and doesn't realize he's yelling at the people that are 4 feet away from him.
Yeah, I'm like, I know you can hear him in the CB, but like you couldn't hear him behind you while he was like. I feel like you would hear both if you have 2 ears.
He's like yelling at them behind him. Hold on, I'm trying to listen to my CB. Stop talking and saying the same thing that this guy's saying.
In advance. You're saying it before he is. It's so weird how I'm getting it like a split
that
second.
That would have been a lot funny if they would have added that in.
What? And then they're like, we're going to go to Boston and get some clam chowder. Haha, movie over. God. So this has been this podcast we do. Knowing that now we've talked it out, we've figured out all the misunderstandings that I personally have had about this movie. Now that we know that it's a fable about incompetent cops and committing crimes out in the open and not being caught, knowing that how it ties to a current environment, does your opinion of this terrible movie change?
No, it was just bad.
Yeah, it harkened back like bad memories of shit kickers I knew. Just that kind of humor, that kind of like, it looks like the movie smells like skull and farts. I don't know if I can express that any better.
It has a flavor, a profile, it's for a person. It's for a type of person. I'm sorry to say, I'm just not that person.
Like if you're sitting there slapping your knee and chuckling at the first interaction between Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed, where he goes to pick him up, and you just think that's just the best banter. You're not on the same comedy level as me, or not like level, but we have different tastes.
Also, you're better than them.
Also superior to you in every way possible. If you were not
a West Coast political elite, like with your $5 frappuccinos.
I'm not trying to be pretentious. It just, I can't believe how redneck this movie is.
Yeah. It was number 2 for the year.
I know.
Did it come out? Was it just that every other movie came out late in the year that they made no movies for like half a year? That's right. That joke killed
somebody like that one
in the other room. That's not true. That's another. Becky's doing a show. That she's on another show as this is happening. Cinema has changed. The way people film movies, write movies, why they do them, they've all changed.
I mean, there are people today that watch this for the first time and think it's hilarious. There definitely are.
Oh yeah.
And somebody made a reference to Fast and the Furious earlier, and that's what it is. It's car porn. It's just like cars at that time. This was the most technologically advanced way you could watch cars race, go fast. It involved CBs, which were big at the time in the 70s. So it's just like hitting on a lot of that stuff. It's not a thinker. Like you can just chill, drink some Coors at the drive-in and watch this movie.
It's like Talladega Nights. Like Ricky Bobby's not a thinker. Ricky Bobby's a driver. That's exactly what this movie is.
That's true. Yeah. And I think, we live in a culture where like you can watch any movie you want at any time you want. And back then it's like that was an event. Going to a movie was like you had to have fun, or you had to have like you were going for fun, or you were going to think, and there was no mindless attendance. And you could make a movie that doesn't really do anything for a long time. Because it's better than sitting at home and staring at your phone hoping that your best gal will call. Because even I was watching, I don't know, it's probably Michael Douglas, Fatal Attraction. Is that the one, Michael Douglas? There's like 20 minutes straight where nothing. They're just reiterating what's already happened for like 20 consecutive minutes. And that was like the early 90s. Just like people were just happy to be out of the house. Like, hey, get him in the theater and keep him there for like a few hours. That's all he had to do.
No disrespect to Sally Field, but Glenn Close would have been so much better in the role of Frog. I'm not going to be ignored, Bandit.
But yeah,
she murders Cletus.
That's a movie. We'll watch that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Smokey and the Bandit Part 1.
Probably the most well-known of the movies we've watched.
Mm-hmm.
The least involving beer.
Mm-hmm. Despite it being around beer.
The most loved.
Probably even more than World's End.
More than Dazed and Confused, possibly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is a bad movie, but it's not the worst movie we've watched.
No,
nope.
That first one.
Drinking Buddies, still, if we're going to rank them, bottom of the pile.
No.
So bad.
Yeah.
That also, is a I think Wild and Jason Sudeikis broke up, so I blame that movie. Even though he's barely in it.
Was she in it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I get my Olivia's mixed up. Olivia Munn and Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, and Olivia Newton-John. I never know.
Totally. I know. Which one wants to get physical?
But yeah, that movie is a drain pour. This one, like, I'll drink it.
It's the Coors of movies.
Yeah.
I had much more fun talking about this movie than watching this movie.
I definitely have a note that says, "You tick turd."
What? Oh, he calls him a tick turd. he calls his dick his daddy. Like, did you catch that when he's talking? I've never heard that word.
No, and I don't ever want to hear it again.
I think they're trying to avoid this is a family movie. We can say like calling him a tick turd is like you little shit, but like not saying little shit. There's like so many times when they come close to swearing and they say something different.
He was gonna say like fuck off or something, and a truck came by, and I was like, brr.
Yeah, he's like, do the letters F-O mean anything to you?
Yeah.
Keep the misogyny and the racism, but do not allow a 4-letter word in this movie.
Mm-mm.
But then they do. And it's just like...
They say shit a bunch.
Yeah. As soon as I put the note, like, oh, they're avoiding swearing, all the swearing came like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
It would have been better with Glenn Close playing every single part. even Big and Little Enos. Paulina just loves that. She said, all you gotta say is Big and Little Enos.
Yeah. Here's the nice part. There's 2 sequels. Neither involve or revolve around beer. We don't need to watch them. So this has been Leonard Malting, our beer-centric beer podcast. If you have a beer-centric movie you want us to watch and review, go ahead and hit us up across social media at barleyandmepod. Email it to barleyandmepodcast@gmail.com or barleyandmepod@gmail.com. Either one works. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. And by that, I mean no one has ever remembered to do it, so I don't know why you would forget. It probably didn't cross your mind in the first place. Anyway, that's how you find the podcast, which is not just this. It's also beer and sports and beer and movies and all sorts of things. We're going to do things because it's a shutdown and you got to be creative. And then where can people find my wonderful co-hosts? Paulina Olivares, where can people find you if they wanted to?
I'm on the Instagrams, on the internets, Ola Paulina. I don't really do a lot. You just see pictures of me drinking beer.
That's all I need.
Yeah. All I need.
That's what we're looking for. And Corky McDonnell, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Corky Knievel and on the podcast, Dare Daniel Podcast, where we review bad movies. We just did Travoltember, our annual November dedication to bad John Travolta movies, but I repeat myself. And we're going to move into Christmas with the Cranks and an as yet to be undecided Hallmark holiday movie.
Oh boy. I love that podcast.
can't-
It's very fun.
Thank you.
Listen to Dare Daniel Podcast. Thank you for listening to Leonard Malting. And send us reviews and what you want to listen to, because there's not many beer movies. Anyway, go. We all have things to do. It's Tuesday. Go. I love you.
Big 10-4.
That's a big Enos. Over.
About to drive my little Enos into the big anus. Big 10-4.
That is funny.
I'm leaving. You just bye. Thanks for listening.